Hey YouTube, it's Zyloc with Media Hindsight, and I'm here to talk to you guys about Destiny. Destiny is coming out next Tuesday, which is exciting, on the 9th, and it is if you haven't heard, which I can't imagine you haven't, it is a first-person shooter slash RPG slash MMO that's coming out for the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's made by Bungie, so it's going to have that great Halo gameplay with the kind of the addictive RPG elements of Borderlands is what they're selling it as. And I spent some time playing the beta. I didn't get a whole lot of time because I got access to it on the last day. Unfortunately, I didn't have any time before then. But I played up to about level 4 on my character, and really, in my eyes, it's like Borderlands, but it's separated into individualized missions, and the ones in the beta took 10-15 minutes, but there are other game modes, other types of missions that you can partake in, and I'm definitely looking forward to this game. I really liked Borderlands 2, and Borderlands 2 has been out I think it's about a year and a half to almost 2 years now, and they're not putting out any more DLC for it at the moment. So I'm a little tired of that game because I played the hell out of it. But I'm definitely looking for something to fill the void before Borderlands the pre-sequel comes out, and Destiny fills that void very nicely, I hope. There's a lot to be excited about it. There's 3 classes to choose between: the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock, and they're all pretty different. The Titan's more of your average tank character. Your Hunter's more of your gunslinger, and your Warlock's more like a mage. They all use weapons and guns and things like that, though. But the skills and their special abilities are really what sets them apart. And to even separate those 3 classes even more, there's going to be subclasses as well. And as far as we know now, there's 2 subclasses per class. And for example, the Titan has the Striker and the Defender class. The Striker class is more of kind of like an in-your-face offensive class. They have a lot of melee abilities that boost your damage. And they also have an ability to jump across the battlefield and do a giant AoE blast where they land to heavily damage or even destroy the enemies around them. So, that's cool. But the Defender class makes them more of a support class, more of a tankier class, and gives them the ability to throw down kind of a protective barrier around a certain part of the battlefield that teammates can go inside of and be protected from a certain amount of damage. And depending upon how you spec your class out, it gives other benefits too. So that's kind of nice. The Hunter also has 2 of them. They have the Gunslinger and the Blade Dancer. The Gunslinger makes the Hunter have the ability to pull out, they're calling a golden gun. I guess they got that from GoldenEye 007. Who knows? But it gives the Hunter the ability to shoot out 3 very, very powerful hand cannon blasts. So that's really great for DPS. And they also have the Blade Dancer subclass, which is seems more melee based. They have like a knife as their melee weapon, but it gives them the ability to charge it with something that's called, I believe, like an arc blade or something. So you can be doing a lot more damage, maybe dashing around the battlefield. And if you've played Borderlands 2, maybe it's something kind of like Zero has in his skill trees. And last but not least, we also have the Warlock, like I said, sort of a mage. We have the Voidwalker subclass that gives them the ability to kind of throw an area of effect, really high damage blast at the enemies from a distance. So I think they're going to be, they're pretty much touted as a glass cannon class. So they're going to do a lot of damage, but they got to keep safe. They'd work really well with a Defender Titan. If the Defender Titan can keep them protected, the Voidwalker can really lay down the damage. And then the Warlock also has a Sunsinger class. I believe it's more of a supportive class. I think it has the ability to augment other classes' damage and defenses. I think it also has the ability to do some healing. And it also has an interesting ability in the tree where you can actually self-revive your your own character, which is kind of cool. So maybe if you find that you're dying a little bit too much as your warlock, you can spec into that, and that may help you out. So you don't have to rely on other players to bring you back. So that's pretty much it for the classes. We're definitely going to find out a lot more when the game comes out. Really get to dig deep into the skill trees and what different setups make different missions easier, and work with different people's play styles. And then there's also different game modes. There's your typical campaign that's your one player. I don't know off the top of my head whether that's a 2-player cooperative experience, but it's definitely a 1-player campaign. Much like any first-person shooter has, give you an idea of the story and that kind of stuff. So great when your friends aren't around and you can't play with them. Then there's also things called strikes, which are, I believe it's 3-man kind of missions, I suppose, where you go in with 2 of your buddies and you do 15 to 30-minute missions, and you just run through those, get loot, and you have different kinds of things that you need to do, different objectives. So that'll be fun. I guess that'll definitely promote some teamwork. But on top of that, there's also raid battles, which you will have a party of 6 people, and these raids are going to have 2 different difficulty levels, normal and hard, and apparently they are going to have several different several bosses. I guess lots of different stuff going on in between them, and they said that these can take, experienced teams should be able to get through these in 3 hours. And less experienced teams, I don't know. They were talking about some people playtesting, and it was taking them 16 hours to finish these raids with no experience and no help. So that kind of concerns me a little bit, but I'm sure once the game's out and there's more information going around the internet, we will all be prepared to hopefully get through them in less than 16 hours for sure. These raids are cool because they reset every week on a Wednesday, and players will earn gear sets through doing these raids, as well as legendary weapons. The legendary weapons are specific to each raid, as far as I know. I don't know if there's different weapons for normal and hard difficulties, but I do know that there are the gear sets. You can only get one particular piece of gear for each set per week. So once you go through a raid on one specific week, you can't get another piece until the following week after it resets on the Wednesday. So while that kind of sucks, it feels like maybe artificial lengthening of the game. This is pretty standard practice for MMOs, so as certain players can't, get all the gear right away and just dominate the game. So, it's kind of nice. It will keep players playing for a certain period of time if the gear is worth the effort, of course. And then on top of that, there is also the Crucible, which is the multiplayer aspect of Destiny. Should be pretty cool. Basically what it does is all of the equipment and all of the abilities that you get within the multiplayer and the campaign mode will carry on with you into the Crucible, where you can do certain types of, deathmatch and probably capture the flag and stuff like that. The good thing is, though, and I was worried about it, is, if one person has really good gear and one person, they're just starting out and they're not going to stand a chance against these other players. Well, there's normalization that's going to occur when people join these Crucible battles, and I guess it's going to bring all of the weapons kind of to scale, so one person is not going to be that much more powerful than the others. The only thing that will change or will take into account is the statistics on the gun, like, ammo capacity, reload speed, stuff like that. Which is fine, because, if you do find a rare gun, you do want to have a little bit of advantage over a player who just has, just a regular pistol or whatever. So I definitely think that's cool. And by doing these Crucible battles, you will you will gain Crucible marks and reputation. And what you'll do is you'll allocate these towards, getting new weapons and equipment. So that's cool, and everybody will also earn loot by simply just completing matches. I don't know how randomized that is. I assume it is. I don't know if you can get legendary equipment this way. It'd be cool if you could, but I guess we'll have to wait and see once the game comes out. And just to give you guys a primer on the kind of equipment that you can collect, each class there'll be 4 common armor slots across all the classes, like helmet and body armor, stuff like that. And then each class also has 1 unique slot, and basically that's something like the Titans. They have kind of a sash or a flag that'll hang off their leg, and the Hunter has their capes and things like that. So, and you'll get different statistic upgrades for your class depending upon what equipment you have, what rarity is, and some of the equipment even levels up with you. So if you have it equipped during the campaign, or you're going through the Crucible or whatever, it will level up with you, and its statistics will increase. So that's really cool. And some statistics that go along with the equipment that you can level up. There's Discipline, which decreases the grenade cooldown time for all the classes, which is nice. Intellect reduces the cooldown time of the player's super ability. Strength reduces the cooldown time of a player's melee ability. And Light boosts the player's level, increasing the damage done by subclass abilities. Those are all kind of interesting. They're not really cut and dry like your typical statistics in an MMO, like strength and dexterity and stuff like that will basically determine your damage or your toughness of your character. These kind of reduce the cooldowns of certain abilities or allow you to do more damage for some of your abilities, which is kind of interesting. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then there's also 3 weapon types that you can carry on each class, but you can only equip 1 weapon from each weapon type. And the weapon types there's a primary weapon. There's various rifles and hand cannons that fall under primary weapons. These will be the ones that you probably find the most ammo for, and they're the least powerful of the 3, but definitely handy to have around, of course. Special weapons consist of shotguns, sniper rifles, and there's a fusion rifle as well. These are going to be outputting a lot more damage than your primary weapons, but I'm sure the ammo is going to be considerably rarer. But it will also fill in gaps that your primary weapons, their weaknesses, like the rifles and the hand cannons may not be that great at short distances, but shotguns are going to be amazing when you're up close and in melee range. And there's also heavy weapons. These consist of 2 different kinds. There's heavy machine guns and rocket launchers, which are really going to lay down the hurt. So those will be interesting to play with too. I'm excited about these heavy weapons. I think those will be cool. And then also, which is really nice, is all the weapons, all the classes, and subclasses that you're going to be playing with or as are going to have specific skill trees with them. So your classes, you're going to level up and you're going to get choices for different skills. It's going to be when you level up, you get to a certain level. I think it's like 1, 3, 5, etc. You get a choice between 3 different skills, like what kind of grenade you want, how you want your double jump or your movement to work for you. Do you want a double jump? Do you want to kind of like a burst of speed when you jump? Kind of stuff like that. Kind of just change the build in different ways, fine tune it for your play style. So that's cool, but there's also these trees for the subclasses as well, so you can fine-tune the classes as you want, which is very cool. And then the weapons also will level up as you use them, and they have their own skill trees. You can give them like different elemental ammunition, faster reload speed, bigger ammunition size, stuff like that. So that'll also be very cool to play with. So I'm definitely really excited about Destiny. I was kind of hesitant when I first heard about it. I mean, I enjoy Halo, but it's definitely not one of my favorite games. Because I'm not a huge first-person shooter fan, but Borderlands and Borderlands 2 definitely changed my perspective of it, because I like the addictiveness of the RPG elements that they add in there. And my game plan for Destiny when it comes out, I'm obviously going to get it on Tuesday after work. I'd like to go in for the midnight release, but I know it's going to be crazy busy and I got to work the next day, so I think I'm just going to give myself some slack and try to get some sleep. But when I start the game off, I definitely want to try the Titan and the Hunter classes. I think they look the most fun. I'm definitely leaning mostly towards the Titan because I like the tankier classes and I like using shotguns and being up in your face. And both of these classes do have some nice melee abilities. So I'll be interested to see how those go. I'll probably play both of them for a little bit and then choose my main shortly after. I also have 2 others that I will be probably playing this game with considerably. I will probably be streaming it on Twitch, so look out for that. It should be a lot of fun. We'll probably be doing a lot of strikes for a while until we get, all of our equipment set up, our characters leveled up, and then we'll probably move into the raids. I assume the raids won't be available right away, but that's okay. And I mean, really, guys, that's it. I'm super stoked. I hope you guys are too. I hope a lot of you are getting it. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about the game. Do you think it's going to be as amazing as Bungie's, hyping it up to be? Sounds like it's going to be a huge game, but with some of the information that's been coming out recently, it seems like it's going to be on a much smaller scale than initially anticipated. But I think that if the game offers, as much content as it seemed like, the alpha and the beta did, I think we'll have a lot to play with here, and they're planning on supporting this game for, they said upwards of 10 years, so that would be a first. That'll be interesting to see, but I hope it's as fun as, I had with the beta. I assume it can only get better than that, assuming there's no big bugs or anything like that, so... guys, as always, I'm Zyloc with Media Hindsight. Hope you guys are looking forward to Destiny. Hopefully see you in the game. And I'm signing out.